All right, this is how to change oil on a Acme motor adx-740. I can't find too many things about it, but yeah. So this will also do the adx-600 and adx-740. It is a dual cylinder turbo, or dual cylinder diesel, not turbo, sorry. Generator has a 10,000 watt Chicago Electric on the back of it. Yeah, there is a few processes you have to do to change the oil in this, so we're going to go through it now. Right here, right below the starter, on the right side of the engine, is where you drain it, right below the fuel filter. Oil filter's on the other side. Right here is the oil dipstick tube. So I'm going to go ahead and start draining this, and then I'll show you some of the procedures after I get that changed on how to flush the engine like it says in the manual, and change the filter. Alright, so after you drain your oil, you will dump out your container or whatever you're using to, because what you're going to have to do is you have to come up on top. Right here, you have two ports, one for each cylinder. You unscrew these right here, and what you're going to do is pour a little bit of motor oil down in them. And so what it's going to do is go down through the cylinders. It's going to wash the cylinders down. It's going to come out your drain plug. So after you do that, you give it a few minutes, and it'll actually just let it run through, and you go from there. Just use 1/4 of a quart per cylinder, and then just give it some time, let it drain out, and then put the drain plug back in. You don't have to remove the oil filter at this time. You can just let it sit there, because it's not going to be pumped into it or anything like that. While you're letting it all drain out, then you can take off the oil filter if you want to. And then just remember to put it back in before, whenever you go to actually fill up the oil. It does take right at 2 quarts. It's 1.8. So you can actually put 2 quarts in it and you'll be fine. So I'm going to dump this oil into my funnel here, and then I'm going to change the oil filter, which is right below the fuel or the muffler, right by the kill switch, right by the fuel pump. So I'm going to change that now. All right. And this also is your fill plug. Whenever you go to fill the oil back up, so don't put them on too tight or anything like that, because you will have to get back into them eventually. So we'll let it sit, and then I'm gonna go down here and change the oil. Also right now, at this moment, I'm just using 1040, just a conventional oil. But after I get this thing running, because it hadn't been raining in a while, I'm going to put synthetic in it. And it doesn't call for any diesel oil or special oil or anything like that. Just SAE, which is just a standard. So I'm just going to do this just to get it running and get ready to change the oil filter. Alright, so this is how you change the oil filter. If you have a filter wrench, you want it to grip, so then you're putting pressure on going counterclockwise. So you just slide it on here. With this, you really don't have any room for an oil pan or anything like that. There's not going to be a whole lot of oil that comes out from it. You can always clean it up a little bit. So what you're going to do is put your oil filter on here, give it a spin, and take it right off. Yeah. Like I said, hadn't been changed in a while. Hadn't been raining in a while. So we'll give that a few minutes. We'll get rid of this oil filter. And then just remember, clean up around here. And then make sure that that's all nice and clean. Make sure pretty much all your oils stop draining. And we'll clean it all up here in a minute. We'll let it drain out a little bit. All right, we're getting ready to put the oil filter on. What I always end up doing is filling up the oil filter a little bit, letting it, so you don't have a dry start or anything like that. Take a little bit of the motor oil that you just put in there, wrap it around it, wipe it on that ring, and just kind of slowly rotate it, let that filter fill up with the oil. So then what you do, wipe this off best you can. Make sure that the old oil ring came off, that it's not still stuck on there. So double seal doesn't really work all that well. So what you're gonna do is you spin it on here, tighten it up, and you're done on the filter. So we'll go to the other side and get ready to put the plug in, clean it up, and put 2 quarts of oil in it and check and see if we're filled up or not. All right, so pretty much all of the oil has stopped draining out quite a bit. So we'll put the plug back in and we'll clean up this area right here just so we don't have any smoke or anything like that coming from once the motor heats up. And tighten it up and wipe down this area. All right, now that you cleaned it all up, put the plug back in. You will go ahead and fill it up and check it on the dipstick to make sure that you are all filled up. So here's half, and then here's your full mark right there. So we will put 2 quarts of oil in it. We'll go 1.5 quarts and see where we're at, and we'll go from there. All right, now we put right at 2 quarts, a little less than 2 quarts of oil. Plus then we already filled up the oil filter. So just give us an idea, make sure we're full before we start it. Yep, we're at the second line, so we are good. So next we're gonna change the fuel filter and check out the fuel lines and stuff like that on it. All right.